jokingly called self-portrait, and it was simply trying to make a kind of a glob of paint look like a little bit like a portrait, and I was very much interested in folk art, and so quite often their paintings would be, you could almost not see that it was a portrait. So that was two were both painted right on the spot in Saugatuck in 1938. I was studying with Francis Chapin, and if you know Francis Chapin's work, you would see a lot of his influence on these two paintings. Now that pavilion, the red building there, that pavilion was very famous for many years, and in the evening it would be all lit up with lights, and they would have a dance band inside, and people would come together there. And they had a ferry going from this side, which is where the art school was on, across to the pavilion. And there was such a strong current on the river, this was the Kalamazoo River, that there was a chain on the bottom of the river, and the rowboat that the guy was carrying you across in was chained to that chain at the bottom of the river, so he wouldn't drift way downstream. And I think he charged 10 cents to carry across. And so eventually that pavilion burned down. It's no longer there. But it was very, very romantic at night. It's just all those brilliant lights and boats, you know, and so forth. But these are definitely early, you know, I'd call them school paintings because I was 38 and I was still a student at the, so it was called Oxbow. The school was called Oxbow. And so that's where they are from. And then I went back in 1939 and I worked in the kitchen with 3 other young students to pay for the tuition. And then we had an entirely different faculty, and we were all pretty much on our own because the faculty let us do what we wanted to do. And I got an awful lot accomplished in both those summers, simply because there wasn't anything else to do. And it was a point where I sort of became an artist, you might say, and managed to handle the oil. These are oil paintings, and it was wonderful. It's upside down. Is Saugatuck, but I painted this a couple of years later, and this is from Mount Baldy. Mount Baldy was a big sand dune, probably the biggest sand dune in Michigan, which you could climb up. They had stairs where they would have a little resting place, and it was quite high. And so looking down, this is what you would see. There was sort of a widening of the river, and then it went back that way, and that's the pavilion. And these little bugs are just arbitrarily put in there to give it a foreground. But that probably, does it say on the side what year was it?
It says landscape, and it says view from Mount Baldy.
View from Mount Baldy, yeah.
I cannot see a. But what would you say? Was it in the 30s or?
Oh, no.
Here it says 42.
Oh, that's maybe the. Okay. There's a 42 on it.
Yeah, 1942.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I don't know.